Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you a question. If I asked you to make 100 origami swans, from the first one to the very last swan, do you think you would have improved your skills? The simple answer is yes, of course you would, right? Because you've kept repeating that process over and over again, and you've gotten better at creating that. Well, launching digital products is exactly the same. So in this video, I want to talk about a lot of the mistakes, 3 in particular, that I made when I was creating and launching my first digital product, so you can avoid making those same mistakes yourself. So when I launched my first digital product, let's just say I didn't get a lot of sales. Now, I'm not ashamed about that, because the reality is when you launch your first digital product, it's going to probably be very similar. Now, I've seen this with a lot of my students who have launched their first digital products. When I started, I thought that I was a bit of a know-it-all, right? I knew exactly how to make this. I was an expert in this field. I knew how to create that product. I knew what my students wanted to see. And the reality is I didn't. I really didn't have a strong grasp on what they wanted. So this is where the research really became critical. Now, if you've already been on this channel for a little while, you know that this channel is all about teaching you how to grow a community, make passive income, sell digital products online. And I have a free mini workshop down in the description. There's a link. And in that, I walk you through that entire process of actually how to concept, design, and then launch your first digital product. In that, I talk a lot about validation. Now, what does that actually mean? The validation is really understanding your audience's needs, right? This is probably the biggest mistake in the research part, is that as someone who knows a particular subject, you think that, right, this is the information that students want to learn, or this is the biggest issue that they're suffering or they need to know. And the truth is that it's not. You know, you might just have a lucky guess, but most people get it wrong. And I've gotten this wrong so many times. It's taken me a long time to learn this lesson. But just by simply validating, you can go to your audience, even if you only have a few followers, ask them what is it that they're really struggling with. You know, what is the one thing that they really, are struggling with that's stopping them from getting to that next level. Now, it doesn't matter even if you've been working on a mini course or you're working on your first digital product or even your second digital product. You can still do this process of validation, going to your audience and asking them. Now, this is part of the research process. And people think you have to write a thesis to do research. No, you don't. You don't have to spend months writing to get a plan of what you're going to do. This is something that you can do within a matter of minutes, even hours, just sending out a simple post, asking people, right, what do you want to learn? Then tailoring your first digital product around that. So once you do that, you know that you're delivering something that's going to solve the needs of your students. And this is really, really important, and why, research is really an important part of that. Now, as I mentioned, if you want to learn about that process, I have a free mini workshop down in the description. I walk you through in detail how to actually do that. I am working on a series. It's going to be a 5-part series. I'm hoping to launch the first one by the end of March. And we're going to go through in detail how you can use free tools out there to basically do this process. But the fundamentals and the steps are all the same. So if you want to get a head start on that, you can check that mini workshop out via the link below. Another reason why I didn't have a successful first launch was I didn't have enough hype. I didn't build enough hype around my launch of my product, and I didn't have a scarcity element. Now, the scarcity is something that, as basic terms, can be something like you only have 100 available. So it basically, even a countdown timer is another scarcity element. It's something that forces your audience or your students into acting now because of fear of they're going to miss out. Now, you're not trying to mislead people or trying to hoodwink people. The idea is that you're always leading with that value, but you're really trying to drive home the fact that this is really important for people to take action. And that's really important to remember when you're adding in some scarcity element. But the other thing that I didn't do was I didn't hype it. So by this, I didn't let my audience know that I was working on this product. So there was no anticipation build for that product being released. So by the time I just launched it, I had no scarcity element. That was basically just hit the open market with a product and hope that it sells, and no one knew anything about it. People have to kind of hear things 3 times before they kind of pay attention. Well, online, it's even worse. People have to hear things many, many times. So by having that or building that hype, it can simply just be that you're talking about it, the product that you're creating, or you're creating posts behind the scenes of the things, that you're working on for that particular product. Or even just doing that validation process that we've already spoken about is a form of hype for your product. People know then that you're working on that product. Another really effective way, which I've spoken about in other videos as well, I'll have links to one of those videos down in the description, is creating a 5-day email, marketing sequence. So basically for your email subscribers, and if you're not already building an email list, you need to be doing that. That video that I'll have a link to down in the description, I already talk about how to do that. But in that, you basically have 5 days before your product actually officially launches. You're sending out an email and building that hype through regular emails that are going out to your community. Email marketing is still one of the most effective ways of marketing, and building hype around your digital product. So by having some sort of 5-day email sequence where you're sending out an email every single day, building up to the release of that product, coupled with some sort of scarcity element, like the product is only available for the first 100 people, or it's only available for a limited time. You need these elements to have a really successful launch. The third biggest mistake that I made was not interacting enough with my audience after the product launches. If people are paying for something, you want to make sure that those people are getting what they paid for. It's not about just trying to sell them basically a terrible product, and now that we've got their money, that's it. We just cut off contact with those people. You want to essentially build a reputation and a rapport with your students and customers. Now, you do this by interacting with your customers that have purchased your product and asking them, how can you improve it? Don't be afraid to add things to your product after you've already launched it. Because the reality is, selling one product is not going to be enough. You want to build that loyalty with your fan base, your subscribers, your students, so that they continue to keep coming back. Now, you can't do that if you've made a terrible product. So you do want to have some level of product that meets those people's needs. And that is where obviously the validation is super important, because if it doesn't solve any needs for people, then no one's going to come back and no one's going to purchase it. So you need to have a product that not only solves a need for those people, but it actually delivers on solving that need for those people. Otherwise, they're not going to continue to come back. That's it for this video. Hit the thumbs up button if you love this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.